Hello, everybody, and welcome to another edition of WTWO's Beyond the Stand. Of course, I'm your host, Rick Semmler, and I'm joined by not only my friend, but the man, the myth, the legend, as I like to call him, Terre Haute North boys basketball coach, Todd Woelfle, joins me here in studio. Coach, good to see you.
Good to see you as well. Thanks for having me on.
Now, you know you enjoy when I call you the man, the myth, the legend, because you live up to it all the time, right?
I think that just means that I'm old, man.
Now, Coach Woelfle and the North Patriots coming off a big week. They're having a tremendous season, sitting 17-3. Several things to go over with Coach and his ball club. First of all, on Friday night, they won at Bloomington North to win Conference Indiana outright. It also marked the second year in a row that they have won Conference Indiana, something that has never been done in Terre Haute North basketball history. Coach, what does it mean? I mean, North's been around for over 50 years to make history like that.
Well, it was a big win for our program, not only for Terre Haute North, but the Terre Haute community to be able to capture a conference title outright and also win back-to-back conference championships in a really good basketball league. So I'm super proud of our kids, not only current players but former players, because it means a lot for them and they take a lot of pride in it. Going through the records, I was talking to Brian Mancuso, as you know, knows everything about Terre Haute. You know, it's hard to believe as competitive as you guys have been in the past that you never won back-to-back conferences. But then again, you were in the SIAC in the 70s. That was so good. And, of course, the MIC. Yeah. Does it surprise you at all, though? I mean, you're a North guy. You played at North. You coach at North. That you had never won back-to-back conference titles? Well, you know, playing in the MIC for so many years, it's a really good league where you're turning out NBA lottery picks. So, you know, one of the best teams I had at Terre Haute North in 2011, 2012, Carmel ended up winning the state title, and we won 20 games that year, and we went to Carmel and had 9 points at halftime. So a very competitive league, as well as Conference Indiana, some really good teams, good players, good coaches. So it was quite an accomplishment for the kids in our program.
I remember that 11-12 team. We're going to talk about them later in this. And then also another milestone, they won back-to-back Conference Indiana titles for the very first time ever, Terre Haute North. Also Friday night, Coach Woelfle picks up career win 250. Now, I gave him a hard time before he came on this podcast because he loves to give me coach speak. When he's not on camera, he's great to talk to, so he's not going to give me coach speak today. You pick up career win number 250. I know you're going to say it's a team, it's a program, it's just another win, but it's not just another win. You reach a milestone. What's it mean to pick up win number 250?
Well, as I mentioned before, it means a couple things. Number one, I'm getting a lot older, and I'm very fortunate to have a job that I love at a school that I love for such a long period of time. And then the second thing, it just means that we've had really good players at Terre Haute North. Fortunate to have excellent assistant coaches and a very good support system for the things that we try to do within our basketball program at Terre Haute North.
Now, I had to look back up 17 years. You've been doing it. First of all, does it feel like you've been doing it for 17 years?
When I look in the mirror in the morning and check out my hairline and the color of my hair, yes, it does.
Oh, wait, I gotta ask you. Speaking of your hairline, I saw your good buddy, Joey Hart. You two love to banter back and forth. Yeah. You know, he says he's worried about you in that hairline.
Yeah, well, Joey's always a good guy to look out for me, and so is my good buddy across the street, Greg Barrett. Now, so they remind me of that quite often, and you know, it is what it is. As long as we keep winning and have good kids in the program, then maybe I'll be able to keep a hold of it for a few more years.
So you're sitting at 250, 17 years doing this. I had to look it up. Do you remember win number one of your coaching career?
I do.
What was it?
At home against Vincennes Lincoln. The score was 48-31.
Very good. I had to look it up to make sure. But you are correct. That was win number one. And win number two was beating Ben Davis, which, you know, obviously a pretty impressive feat for Terre Haute North.
I don't remember that one as well, but I sure am glad that you mentioned that because that was a good win over a very quality program.
You obviously played for Terre Haute North. It means everything to you. You were on the sidelines, assistant under the legendary Jim Jones, Hall of Famer, and then you took over for him. What has Jim Jones meant to you personally and your coaching career?
Well, obviously he was my high school coach, so I learned a lot of lifelong lessons from him as far as being disciplined, having a good work ethic, really putting in the time and trying to outwork other people and to make sure that you were prepared, not only prepared as a coach and a coaching staff, but your players are prepared
in order to go and battle with the opponent.
I still see him around every now and then. Do you talk to Coach often? Does he still coach you up even though you're the coach?
Absolutely. He's on our huddle account, and he watches all of our games, and he'll definitely give me his opinions on things that we could do a little bit better, and I appreciate that, and I'm glad that he's still involved in our program.
What is it like, though, to have someone like that? I mean, I know he's not there day to day, but to have someone that you can lean on like that.
It's a good feeling, you know. I've been very fortunate in the coaching business to have excellent mentors, Coach Jones being one of them. I got to work for the late Jim Shaw at Rose-Hulman when I was 23 years old, and he and John Prevost taught me how to scout and really prepare your team for the competition. Just a lot of other people have impacted me in a positive way in my life, and I've been very blessed.
Get back to talking to Coach Woelfle in a second. Got to mention, of course, we got new things going on here for Beyond the Stands, new ways to catch the podcast. It is on Spotify now, CastBox, Pocket Cast, and iHeartRadio. Trying to give you all different ways to see WTWO's Beyond the Stands podcast. Okay, one of the things I respect a ton about you, your program plays as a team. I do Fantasy Stars every week. You send me the stats after every game, and I always laugh because your guys never make Fantasy Stars. I mean, let's just be honest. They never do because you always have 4 or 5 guys scoring between roughly 15 to 10 points every game. But that's who you are. You're a team. You're not about individuals. You built that culture. How hard was it to build that culture, especially in today's society where, I mean, sometimes you have kids and families about me, but you're about we.
Yeah, it's something that we talk about every day. We don't have Fantasy Stars, but I think that we have some excellent high school basketball players in our program, and if they give them of themselves and they are unselfish, then individual awards and honors will come with the team's success, and that's really what we try to convey to our young people. And we're fortunate that we have a good group of kids who buy into that. They want to win, they want to be successful, and they genuinely care about their teammates.
You speak, I mean, you have tremendous talent. I mean, Bryce Wren, 6'10", his brother, a talented sophomore, Tyler Wren, your son, Gavin Woelfle, Mason Lloyd, Blake Hammonds, Cam Fennell. I mean, you have so much talent. How do you get them all, though, to buy in sometimes when they could be going off?
Well, again, it's just something when you're dealing with high school kids and the pressure that they have through social media and wanting to play at the next level, to get them to understand what's really important and the little fine details that go into winning and losing a basketball game, and not only just in athletics, but how those little details are going to affect them in a positive way throughout their life, so they're confident enough to go in and interview to get a job, or they're confident enough when you stick a microphone in front of their face that they're going to say the right thing and it's going to be in their heart and they're going to believe what they're saying because they've shown, or it's been shown, that when you do things the right way, you can be successful.
I love it. I love the message you have there. What people don't realize is right now Terre Haute North boys basketball is the standard for basketball in Vigo County. You'll shake your head, but it's the standard for Vigo County basketball right now. I can say that. I have a son in South's program, but North owns them right now. It hasn't always been that way for you, though, when you're coaching at Terre Haute North. Before COVID, you had some lean years. How have you been able to change your program to where it is right now?
Well, let's be honest, a lot of it has to do with the Jimmy and Joes. And as you mentioned, we have really good players in our program right now. And just fortunate to be able to coach those kids, and also their willingness to get better on a daily basis. And our practices are extremely competitive. Right now we have 2 seniors, Asaya Minky and Brady Stepp, who have not received a ton of playing time this year, but to their credit and their character, they have continued to work hard every single day and have been phenomenal teammates. And I always say, or our coaching staff always says, the one thing that's non-negotiable in our program, we talk about a lot of things, like where we're going to go eat after a game, what play we might run, what time we might practice if they want to do something. But one thing that's non-negotiable is always being a good teammate. And if you're willing to do that, there are so many things that go into being a good teammate, but if kids will buy into that and are willing to do that, I think that's where our program has been successful, because they've been able to block out all the negative outside noise and people telling them that they can't win championships at Terre Haute North because we don't have the greatest facilities, or we don't have all the nice things that some of the other schools have. For our kids to be able to block that out and say, you know what, we are going to do something special for Terre Haute North and Terre Haute, that's what really makes me happy.
You speak of that. People don't know that you and I text each other all the time. We're both advocates of the feeder system and
Yeah.
strength and conditioning programs. We just want to see Terre Haute basketball in general, whether it's North, South, West Vigo. We want to see Terre Haute basketball good and get the respect it deserves statewide.
Yes.
How, I guess, you've gone out and played statewide competition. How proud are you of your program? Obviously, you want it to get better, but where it is right now, the standards.
Well, first of all, I'm an advocate for student athletes in Terre Haute in general because we all live in the same city. And I've been fortunate to be a member of the Indiana Basketball Coaches Association and a district rep. So I really am an advocate for everybody in the Wabash Valley. I want to see kids be successful and have the opportunity to continue their career and get the statewide recognition that I feel that the kids in this area deserve. So that's just been a big part of what we're trying to do at Terre Haute North and advocate for the kids, not only there, but just in our area.
I want to take a second and thank the sponsors of our show. We got Crow Equipment Incorporated and Andrews Heating and Air Conditioning, your 2018 American Standard Heating and Air Conditioning, building a higher standard award winner for quality and reliability you could depend on. Call Andrews Heating and Air Conditioning, 765-832-9401. Now, you pick on me all the time about bringing up old memories. I won't mention a kid's name from Robinson that you always pick on me that gave you a hard time in the Classic about 13 years ago. But one thing we both have talked about was last year's team. And, I mean, you guys had a chance to win a sectional. I know it was your game in the fourth quarter, and it got away from you a little bit. You don't like to look backwards, but do you believe that's driving this year's team at all?
I think so. You know, another thing that comes along with athletics is dealing with disappointment, and it's another life lesson. You need to learn how to win, but you also need to learn how to lose and do it in the right way so it motivates you to get better. I'll be honest with you, last year was extremely disappointing, and it took me a long time to get over that, and our kids as well, because we felt like we had a team that could make a run in March, and it just didn't work out. You know, we have a 3 in the air. It's 31-24, and we have a 3 in the air that goes in and out. We go up 10, and maybe the game, the complexion of the game then turns, but it didn't work out that way. So we have goals, and you know, one of our goals was to win the class. We didn't get that done. We lost to a very good Northview team. Again, I wanted our kids to stay out on the floor, not only to show respect to Northview for what they've done for the 4 days, but to also, growing up as a young man, it's an important life lesson that you don't always win, because these kids see videos on their phone every day, and it's all about success, and life's not always like that. So hopefully that motivates us to, you know, we won the conference and then have an opportunity to play and win a sectional.
Speaking of sectionals, it's not far away. It's
No.
creeping up, and you won't like this. Again, I pick on you because you're just so modest, but you'll be going in as a sectional favorite. How do you feel your team will handle that?
Well, you know, this week, weather permitting, we're going on the road Tuesday night at Park Tudor, and then Friday on the road at Northview, and Saturday on the road at Evansville Harrison. So we're going to simulate a sectional type atmosphere this week, because our sectional's at Bloomington South, and if we don't draw the bye, we'll have to play 3 games on the road in order to get that done. But hopefully our group has matured. I think that's one of the things that we've talked about all year long. We had a young group that, although they had experience going into the season, some of them, their roles and responsibilities changed. So throughout the course of the year, we hope that we've matured. We'll be able to handle that situation and play well.
3 games on the road this week, 3 tough games on the road this week. Obviously, Park Tudor first, but you already mentioned it, so I got to ask you, the Northview game. You can't tell me your guys aren't just looking forward to a rematch against a very good Northview team. Are you eager to see, like you said, a sectional opponent, because you're going to play potentially the Bloomingtons again or Terre Haute South again, seeing how your team has grown since December taking on Northview?
Definitely. You know, they are an excellent team. They're having a fantastic season. Sean does a good job, and they have really good players, especially their guard play. They have some of the best guards in our area. They don't turn the ball over. They're smart, and, you know, they very rarely take bad shots. So just a solid, really solid high school basketball team. And we have to go on the road in what I would imagine would be a pretty hostile atmosphere. And so I'm excited to see how our guys respond to that.
We've been talking about, you know, your years at Terre Haute North. You mentioned that 11-12 team. You had Larry on there. You had Justin Gant. Austin Lewis. I think you had 4 Division I, a couple football players, a couple basketball players. I mean, just one of the better teams to come through Terre Haute North. I remember the regional day at Hinkle Fieldhouse. You knocked off number 1 Pendleton Heights. They had Kellen Dunham, who went to Butler. Then, and I'll still argue this to this day, you're playing Pike. It's in the 4th quarter. O'Leary gets a charge call on him. It was not a charge. And the game was close, and you lose momentum after that. The deepest run you've had as a Terre Haute North head coach. Do you ever? I mean, how much have you thought about that? I mean, just how special that team was as well.
Just a special team, and I think as a coach, the thing that's most special to me is the relationships that you make with your players along the way. And I'm still very close with a lot of guys in that group, and to see them grow and be invited to their weddings, and they're now fathers and good husbands and successful in life. Yes, it does make me feel personally a lot older now that they're entering those stages in their life, but I'm proud of the kids that have played in our program, not only for what they did while they're at Terre Haute North, but what they've done going forward in their life.
Want to thank our sponsors again of the show. We got Crow Equipment Incorporated and Andrews Heating and Air Conditioning. So, you speak of special players and the relationship you have with players. You have a unique relationship with one player on your team. Coaching your son, Gavin Woelfle. He's a very talented ball player. He's been running the show for you at the point guard. But you say it's, you talk about your hair and everything else. What is it like coaching your son?
Well, I guess the best adjective I could use to describe that is challenging. It's been a challenge. My sons have grown up obviously around Terre Haute North basketball since before they could walk, and he actually was at the sectional and, when we won, and he was a baby. So it's been challenging. It's nice I have a son who's also a freshman, so having them with me every day has been, it's good and bad, I guess, because they're not wired like me, and they both want to be successful, but they're both trying to also create their own path, and I've got to be able to be dad and coach at the same time. So anyone who has ever done that knows what a challenge it is, and there are some things that I would like for him to do better, but I think he's having a good season, and athletics is continuing to grow young boys into young men.
Gavin's had a great season. He really has. He's stepped up his scoring this season, and he runs the show for you at the point guard position. One thing Gavin does do, he's very fiery and plays with passion. I asked a lot of people, when you played in the 90s, how you were. They're like, you weren't like that. So you have him with his fiery and passion. You don't want him to lose that,
right.
But how do you get him to tread that line sometimes where I've seen you say trying to control a 17-year-old. Like, how do you control that line with him?
Well, he just needs to hone that energy in the right direction. Not only him, but a lot of guys who are emotional and play with passion. That's good as long as it works in a positive way for yourself and your team. But sometimes that can work in a negative way, and we don't like to see that happen.
So what is it like, coaching and you got mom? Does she protect Gavin when you get on? How's that dynamic work at home between mom, dad, and Gavin sometimes?
Well, I've learned, I talked to a lot of coaches who've coached their sons, actually, because I needed some advice and some help in many areas. And that's the great part about coaching. You have a big coaching fraternity where those people will help you out. And the best way that I've been able to deal with it, and the best advice I could give, is once you leave practice or leave in between the lines of the basketball court, to not talk about it. I've tried to find something else to talk about, like, hey, did you get your homework done? And things like that, just to make sure that we still have a relationship and that high school basketball doesn't run my relationship with my sons as a father.
But mom is happy because happy wife equals happy life, right?
Absolutely. She's happy when Gavin plays well, and my face isn't red and I have to put my blood pressure up.
Another person I got to ask you about, Nate Blank. He was one of the best players to ever come through Terre Haute North, and he's been your sidekick on the bench for a long time. I know he's battled some health issues recently, but what has Nate Blank meant to your program, and particularly as a coach?
Nate is just a great person. He relates to the players and has a phenomenal basketball mind. He's battled some health issues for a few years now, and he cares so much about the kids that he gives back to them and tries to be there as much as possible. The kids really respect him. They appreciate the effort that he gives. He was a great player, but has transitioned. Sometimes going from a player to a coach is a difficult thing, and Nate really has done a good job. He's humble. He doesn't talk too much about his playing career, being an Indiana All-Star Division I player. He just gives the knowledge that he's gained over the years to our young players in order for them to be successful.
Another person you got on your bench, Matt Wren, the former Sycamore great who played in the NCAA tournament. I've always said I think Matt has maybe the highest basketball IQ of anybody. Maybe Mentzer's up there too, who was an assistant under you as well. Yeah. What is it like to be able to look there? And you speak of Nate Blank, but you also have Matt Wren that you can bounce stuff off. What's that like?
We're not going to get in the argument about who's better, Wren or Mentzer, because those two guys will go at it, just competitive argument about that as they would if they were playing on the court. But Matt's another guy that I'm fortunate to have on our bench. He does have an excellent high basketball IQ, and he's really good at the numbers and breaking down. He's a math teacher, so he's really good at breaking down numbers, our best combinations of players and rotations, who's doing what, where we need to sub where, and just really good at those type of things. And then I also have David White, Bobby Moore. Brett Taylor's been a great addition to our staff. Our athletic trainer, Jordan Watson, who is so invested in not only making our athletes healthy and getting them back to play, but really invested in our program, who I consider a great friend. So you're only good as the people around you, and we have an excellent staff at Terre Haute North.
You speak of Jordan Watson, great guy, keeps me updated when games haven't started. I'm texting him what's going on. They haven't started yet, or he does. He promotes the athletes in the area. Also makes me old because I covered him, back in the day. But he is a great trainer and a great ambassador for Terre Haute North. Before I let you go, we were talking a little bit off camera before we started the podcast. A lot is changing with Indiana high school basketball and just the sports world in general. But a transfer rule is going into place where kids are going to be allowed a one-time transfer before their senior year. I guess you've been a part of transfer, both kids leaving and coming. Just, do you think this is good for Indiana high school basketball or sports in general in Indiana? What's your thoughts on that?
Well, we'll see. I think we'll see. It's definitely going to change things. We've talked as a staff, and I think it's important that you recruit your own players and you make sure that your program is a destination where kids want to be and they don't want to leave. So we're going to continue to do the things that we do and how we treat our kids and take care of our kids so they want to be there. And hopefully we create an environment that's great for to be a good teammate and a place that they want to come every day and be a part of.
Do you think it's crazy, though? I mean, you played in the 90s, I played in the 90s, just how different high school sports, the landscape has changed?
Oh, it's changed quite a bit, yeah. And I think the IHSA is being proactive in this and saying, hey, we don't want 4 or 5 transfers. We don't want this to become like college sports, so we're going to give you the one transfer. Because let's be honest, sometimes things don't work out, and people need the opportunity if they're in a situation where there's a ton of talent and you're not getting a lot of playing time and they think they can go play somewhere else. Maybe that's what's best for the kid. I just hope that we're doing things and keeping in mind what's best for young people to grow and develop. And going through adversity is not a bad thing because it makes you tougher and it helps you grow. But if it's a situation where it's going to be better for the kid, then I'm all for it.
Coach, I didn't get the coach speak. I love it. You opened up a little bit. Usually on the TV cameras, we get the coach speak, we turn it off, and he's wonderful to talk to. Gives you all kinds of insight. But he didn't do the coach speak with me today. I appreciate that. He's a dear friend of mine. Like I said, we are both advocates in different ways for high school basketball in the area, especially Terre Haute. Coach, I appreciate you joining me. Congrats on back-to-back conference titles, and congrats on win 250. Definitely we'll be covering you as you go forward. Hope the Patriots have a tremendous rest of the season and postseason run.
Thanks, Rick. I appreciate all you do for student athletes in the Wabash Valley.
Always good seeing you, Coach. Before I let you go, again, remember, you can watch WTWO's Beyond the Stands or follow it on Spotify, CastBox, Pocket Cast, and iHeartRadio. That does it for Beyond the Stands.